So if a woman's considering marrying a man who's young and he has no kids, what she be thinking about?
And so if a woman is considered a younger man who has no kids, and if we
Hmm.
assume that she does have kids, um, but if she doesn't have kids, then the only thing that she really would have to worry about, of course, there may be a maturity gap there. You know, some of the
Yeah,
things and experiences that you've had, some of the tastes that you have as far as, entertainment or, just in life, there's going to be
yeah,
a gap there. So that can be cause some frustration. Um, but if you can't have children anymore, eventually, on average, overwhelming majority of the time, that man is going to want kids. Even if originally he's like, yeah, I don't care, I just want a wife.
yeah,
Eventually, he's going to want some children. If you can't do that, you have to know that there will be someone else, or the relationship will probably end because of that.
yeah,
So I have seen multiple times where women, they can't have children. They married a younger man, and then they're fighting tooth and nail
yeah,
over him finding an other option to have children,
yeah,
and so this is something that you have to know going in. You are
yeah,
not going to be able to, most likely, even don't look at someone else who has was able to do it. Most likely you will not be able to keep that man to yourself or keep the relationship if it's a man who can have children and he's young enough to
yeah,
have them. It's just not likely that he will decide that, I just won't have any children.
yeah. And I'll just say two things that you need to consider. One, for the guy, you have to make sure that he's mature enough not to be jealous or whatever type of feelings that you were actually married before, because he could be coming in like virgin, not been married, and that could be an issue. Like maybe he does have a secret issue with like you actually having a previous husband. Um, that's a reality. And the other thing is too is, especially if you're older, you have to make sure you manage yourself and that you can actually fall under somebody that's younger than you and not try to be like, oh, I'm older, I know more than you, I have more experience, I'm your boss, because he's going to grow out of that, relate out of that very soon, and actually it'll cause a split between you guys because you're trying to be the dominant in the relationship where he's going to grow into his natural role, and don't try to be the dude's mother, pretty much.
And I'll just say this: there are some men that they do want a mother. They want to be they want someone to be motherly to them and with them. I mean, it's a little weird, but there are some people that fit that category.
Yep.
And so, but you have to understand that you might not like that type of guy though. But there are
Yeah.
people like that. Hey, if that's your thing, go for it. But
Yeah.
that maybe you won't like that person. Also, another fact that you have to think about is, so for the older woman who has children, your children could be in and around the same age as him. Like we said, where the man,
Yeah.
he might get folded up by the son if he, tries to, talk a little
Yeah.
sassy to his mother, which it has happened before. But also, what you have to factor into for the woman, this is the thing that you have to factor into. You have a man who's younger, and statistically, it happens a lot where that man has either a natural attraction to some of your children or one that's unnatural, but it's a danger. It's a danger
Mhm.
for your children, especially if they're young. He could, there's weird people out there. So that's something that you have to really look into. What type of person, that background, get a background check.
Yep. Yes.
Make sure he's not on any list or anything. Because sometimes you do have people that will pursue, a younger man will pursue an older woman because of her children.
Mm.
They're in the house with him. He has easy access or whatever. So you have to be very, very careful with that. And it also happens to where, I mean, a woman, she's 45 years old. She's got a 23-year-old daughter. She marries a 26-year-old man. I mean, he runs off with the daughter, you know? And
Yep.
so that happens too. So you have to realize you are an antique version of your daughter in a lot of situations. So
Yep.
if he has an attraction to you, it could be. I'm not saying for everyone. I'm not saying for everyone, but this is something that I would tell a person that you have to think about this because it could be possible. And especially if that daughter has daddy issues or whatever, her father's not around, it is something that you have to, if you do get in that situation, you have to pay very close attention to that situation and make sure it's nothing weird, especially because
Yeah.
just because you got married doesn't mean you automatically know the person that well.
Yeah.
It takes
Exactly.
some time, and after you can kind of get a good idea of what type of person they really are. You have to be on guard and really be watching for that.